Hello, welcome to the Principia Podcast. I'm your host, James Ives. Today I'm joined by Chris Rice. Hello, Chris.
Hi, James. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Great.
Today we'll be talking about affording college and the importance of affording college. Now, many students today, especially at Principia, have a variety of options when it comes to preparing for college, such as grants, scholarships, and work opportunities. But sometimes students struggle to find the correct grants or opportunities, and Print has a lot of those to offer. So I guess my first question for you, Chris, is from your experience here as a senior and being here for many years, what are some options that you've explored and found helpful?
Yeah. So the thing that was really helpful for me, when I'm applying for aid, they ask for your parents' tax returns. My parents are divorced, so I only live with my mom, and they were requesting, Print actually, I believe, requested both of my parents regardless, and I only sent in one, which was
Right.
my mom, who I was living with, right? And so that is kind of what they used. And so through that, I was able to demonstrate, like, hey, I'm expecting to receive nothing. This is what my mom makes. Like, help me out here. As well as declaring independent on my own taxes. Was able for further proof of financial need. And so my personal financial aid package, generally it comes back once, and you're like, I don't know if I can swing that. Always negotiate. Always ask for more. Say, hey, I'm not sure if I can do this. You know, this is what my budgeting looks like. And most of the time, they'll get back to you with a better offer. And so I would recommend the first step is negotiate.
So you'd say they're pretty flexible?
They are pretty flexible so long as you're demonstrating need. Yeah.
Yeah. For me, I'd say when I first got my financial package and like my debt as well, like my loan agreement and all of that, it was like really intimidating.
Yeah.
And I was really scared of it. And I was like, I'm not sure what the best thing here is. But they gave me a tentative plan as far as what my package would be. So I kind of, as many students probably go, just went with it.
Yeah.
Just went with the flow.
Yeah.
And now I'm starting to see like there's such a great need, especially since like the average paying student that comes out of our pocket is like $3,000 per semester, which is a lot.
That is a lot.
I was talking with a friend in Canada and they pay like $1,000 per semester.
Yep.
And so with that kind of looming over it, that's what my primary responsibility with these next 4 years comes into play. So I have to get like a job on campus, and then I have to have a job over the summer that I'm working full time.
Yep.
What do you, from like your work experience, what helped you get through school? What would you best recommend for students?
Gotcha. So right now, I would probably recommend the camps, all of the different Christian Science summer camps, specifically because of the extra $5,000 scholarship that you get now.
Is that for any Christian Science camp?
Any Christian Science camp. If you work at a Christian Science camp over the summer, you will get $5,000 from Principia towards your print bill, new as of this year. So
Oh, wow. That
yes.
just came out.
Yeah, just came out. That's, hot news.
Wow.
And so
I thought, like, I heard about that going on at Cedars Camp, but I didn't know that applied to all of them.
Yep. And so that's of recently. I didn't know Cedars Camp did that. I know Owatonna now does that. And through talking with the director there, he said, yeah, now any Christian Science camp, if you work at one, and obviously prove that you can work at one, there is a specific grant allocated to you, $5,000 towards your tuition.
That's
which
crazy.
Is awesome. Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's probably my top choice. Juniors and seniors especially, people going into junior or senior year might start to look for internships.
Yeah.
And that entirely depends on the field you're going. I can only speak for computer science. But I personally value being at the CS camps more than I value an internship because I am confident in my ability to land a job out of college. If you feel like your skills might not be up to it, the internship might be the way to go. However, if you think, I'm doing well in my classes, I'm confident in my material, I'm confident in my ability to talk to people, then I think it's going to be better financially for you and towards your life experience to work at a CS camp.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of different skills that you learn.
Oh,
it's a
yeah.
learning opportunity. I worked at AU for 1 year and
Nice.
Crystal Lake camps for 1 year.
Gotcha.
So I know the whole
Yep.
camp thing. Moving forward, how much students, so here at the school, when it comes to paying for print bill or just kind of getting by, the average like payment for Illinois is $11. That's like the minimum
Yeah.
wage. Here at Print, a lot of jobs are like $10. I think the highest paying job is a lifeguard. It's like $12. And what do you think about that as far as like a contribution to?
It's really tough. I
Yeah.
know especially international students are kind of pigeonholed to where it's really hard for them to get jobs off of campus.
Yeah.
And so they have to get a job on campus, which is difficult. I know with the CS camps now, you can classify that as an internship if you're international. So long as you have taken at least one 200 level class, you are eligible to be able to work at a CS camp.
But it would have to be like an internship position.
It's classified. I'm doing air quotes right now.
Classified.
Classified as an internship.
Yeah.
But it's just a summer job. It's the same as anybody else.
Okay.
That is how they are logistically able to get international students to CS camps. And I believe that is new-ish. It either went away for a while and now it's coming back, but I know at least at Owatonna, you can do an internship. I think you can do it at other camps as well.
What would be a good outlet for students that are maybe not Christian Scientists who don't really want to be in a highly Christian Science immersive environment? Because like I know from my experience at the camp, it plays a very big role into your life, and
sure.
it's very required.
Yeah.
So for students that maybe are struggling to pay their print bill, what would be a better outlet for them?
Interesting. Internships, depending on your major, are going to pay a lot more than print will over the summer. Comp Sci internships pay a lot most of the time. So if you're in one of those kind of STEM majors with a paid internship, that can be one option. If you have transportation, you could potentially get a job in Alton somewhere. I don't know any of the specifics of that, but that would be my guess. I know Germania and the coffee shops often will hire Principia people. If it's over the summer, unsure. Good question.
Yeah, there's a lot to ponder with that.
There is.
I know that so 11 is the minimum wage for Illinois. So if students wanted to make more than that, they could just go over the Mississippi to Missouri, get a 15 an hour job.
I didn't know that happened. I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's probably what I'm going to do personally.
Yeah.
I love the camps, but
They're a lot of work.
It is a lot of work, yeah. Okay, so how do you think... Okay, this is really interesting. So a lot of students here, they sometimes feel isolated or like we're in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
But we're making money, and there's this whole college scene about having fun, getting out, experiencing life. So they spend a lot of money on gas for travel and doing different things. And sometimes that can get out of hand, and then print bill comes along, and they're like, oh, shit. So how do you think students can better manage that sort of thing and still feel like they're getting the college experience they deserve?
Gotcha. With college experience, I've kind of grown a lot in my understanding of what I personally want from my college experience. Going in to my freshman year, I was like, oh, I know the people are really cool, but I'm really here for computer science, right? And I wasn't as interested in the social scene. And then my sophomore year, I took a full gap year, and I worked overnight at Lowe's doing receiving stocking. And then I did some hiking, and then I went to a CS camp, and then I came back. And when I came back, what I kind of realized was that everybody dogs on like liberal arts education, right? It's like, like liberal arts education, ha ha hoo hoo.
Yeah.
But there is so much value in what I separate out in my own head is professional education and then life education. And
Right.
so computer science is my professional education. And then I'm also doing education as like I'm a double major now, outdoor ed and computer science. So I think of outdoor education as my life education. How do I want to treat people? What is my leadership philosophy? How do I want to teach, how do I want to teach my kids, right?
Yeah.
All of these super impactful things. How do I want to have my artistic expression? I took a graphic design class. I like to draw. I'm not great at it, but I have fun with it. All of these multifaceted things in our life. And so going back to financially, how do you afford that? Prin puts on phenomenal events. Some of them you're like, I don't know if I want to go to it. Maybe this stinks. Show up. Show up, please. If you go to an event, you can find out whether you like it or not. You don't have to listen to anybody else. You can make your own decision on whether you like it. And at least you're getting out there. Other social outlets, I know JD does Deep Questions and Dark Chocolate
I know.
once a week.
That's really great. Been to that a few times.
Yep. There's, I help teach swing lifts if you want to learn how to lift people up and throw people around. That's really fun.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of like little clubs and little things around campus. So get involved or at least try out. I always say try it once, even if you're not totally sure about it. And through there, that is essentially free social outlet, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to pay for any of that. And if you are going off campus, ways to kind of help out that financially would be, carpooling is a pretty obvious one.
Yeah.
Bringing food with you instead of eating out. So there are ways to do things in less expensive manners.
Right.
Through communal engagement.
So like through communal engagement, like the different clubs and opportunities around campus, students just need to be engaged more and like seek out, opportunity.
And
for sure.
One thing you said, just need to be engaged more. I don't want to make it seem like, just get engaged more. Like, that's so easy, because it's not.
Yeah.
It's really hard to put yourself out there and to try these new things when
for sure.
You might think, this is going to suck. This is going to waste my time. It's cold outside. It's not a just thing. Pat yourself on the back for going to an event that you think sucked,
Right, for sure. I mean, at least you put yourself out there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Super important.
And, chances are you'll probably find some things of value that make your college experience worth it.
A lot of people, whenever I'm talking to people about going to social events, are like, I really don't care about, let's say, ice skating, right? We had an ice skating event.
Yeah.
Man, I don't really want to ice skate. Like, I don't like it. And I'm like, okay, go and socialize. Talk to people. Hang out. Just chat, sit down, people watch, get out there. Every time that I go ice skating, I super rash my shins or my ankle area.
I get blisters. I got some mean blisters on my toes.
Yep.
That was not good for swim season.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so I just sat down and chatted with people, and I had a great time. It was awesome. And that's kind of the standard for a lot of the events. You're basically just get people in an area with some good food and let them hang out.
It is pretty chill, I can say, from my own experience. And you just really got to get yourself out there. Don't be afraid to socialize.
Oh, yeah.
And this is moving on to the idea of is college worth it? Why is our tuition so expensive?
Yeah.
With our package and also what we pay, it's a total of $45,000 a year, and $30,000 of that about goes to tuition, and then another $14,000 is other expenses, whether it be your housing, food, books, equipment. So after all those years, do you think it's worth it that students pay that? Should students be paying that much for college? Why is it that way?
So that's kind of a twofold question, especially with public universities that take on public funding and, for lack of a better word, kind of exist to make a profit. They receive public aid from the government, and so they're going to kind of bring that up every year to try and get more and more and more aid. On
Right.
top of that, you have inflation. What is your buying power? And so a lot of public universities, not including like tech colleges and stuff, but specifically thinking of public four-year universities, the explanation for those going up substantially is either if they're research-oriented, university, then they're trying to get more research done, or if they're publicly funded, they're trying to get more money in their pockets, right?
Yeah.
So you can look at it from a greed perspective. With private universities, it's a little different, right?
And we're at a
Because
private college.
we are at a private college
Yeah.
because they do not accept public funding in any shape or form, right?
No.
And so
We get a lot of money from donors.
Yep, we get a lot of money from donors. And Principia, with its, cause to aid the cause of Christian Science, progress it, I forget the proper exact terminology.
Yeah. No, I understand what you mean.
They have kind of this emotional principle backing from their donors. And so Principia is being put in a tough position, and students are being put in a tough position because they are trying to. It was really interesting. We have a massive endowment, right? But the purpose of the endowment is not to get us right now through college.
Yeah.
It's to get people 60, 70, 80, 100 years from now through college, right? That endowment needs to be sustainable.
Wow.
And so they are essentially kind of fighting a battle. Okay, how much do we take from the endowment right now? How is our investment going? How much can we aid our current students without jeopardizing our endowment? Without jeopardizing students?
Because they're trying to preserve
Exactly.
Christian Science and preserve the future of.
Exactly,
Yeah.
right? And so
And we're in a tricky state
Yeah.
right now, like especially the last, I don't want to say maybe 2-3 years, because we have at least 60% of the freshman class that just came in are not a part of Christian Science at all.
That's awesome.
And that's great and all, and I think that's good that I think Principia is moving in a progressive step forward with that.
Yep.
But what does that mean for this thing that you're talking about, the endowment?
Yeah. So I believe specifically, I could be totally wrong here, but I think the term is that they're Christian adjacent. And so they might not be Christian Science, but they understand, some form of Christianity and have a respect for it, or at least a tolerance of it, right? I think that is the whole shtick. And the beauty of Principia is the people, really, right? So even if you're not Christian Science, you can still recognize, wow, there's some wonderful people here.
They're still recognized as a Principian.
Yep,
and we love them.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Exactly, 100%. Still recognized as a Principia. Thank you for putting it that way.
Yeah.
And so the endowment and the donating going forward is to continue legacies of Principians.
Principians.
Yes, exactly.
Let's refer to them as Principians, not Christian Scientists.
Yep.
Yeah, because that's more accurate for sure. So I guess another question I have is there any other challenges with Print Bill that you've heard of that students have talked about, or what are some things you'd like to share?
Challenges with Print Bill. So essentially there's a specific form you can request from, I think it's Rachel Stock, which gives you your expected contribution. You personally, what is your expected contribution? And that differs between a bunch of people, right? Essentially, if you are not receiving aid from family and you are working a job over the summer and then working at Prin, that number can range anywhere between $2,000 and $5,000.
$5K, $3K.
$2,000 to $5K.
Yeah.
In that line, and so you are expected to contribute that much. Can you remind me? I forget what the original question was. Sorry.
What are some challenges that students face with Print Bill?
Yeah, and so sometimes a challenge could be my expected contribution is not one that I can pay because they are expecting that my family contribute this much, and they are not contributing that, right?
Right.
Talk to Rachel about that. Talk with financial aid about that.
Absolutely.
And then other contributions could be overspending, My mom has always said that I sit on money tighter than a tick.
Yeah.
And so I am very cautious about where I spend.
I
big chunks of
overspend
money.
sometimes.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
100%. And so it's like, okay, well, how can I reserve this money and, be frugal, but also make sure that I'm having the college experience? I think that's probably the most common
Yeah.
problem. And ways to solve that, I guess I have a little tricks that I do. If you are considered an independent on your taxes, you can claim what's called the American Opportunity Credit, which is
What's that? Tell me about that.
it is a $1,000 credit, just $1,000 that you get from the government. If you are in college, there's like 3 or 4 stipulations. Independent on your taxes, currently enrolled in college, have not received the American Opportunity Credit more than 4 times, because it's meant to get people through undergrad.
Right.
And U.S. citizen? I'm not too sure on that last one. I would have to be cross-checked. But if all of those are correct, then on your taxes, when you're filing, you can claim an American Opportunity Credit.
And that would give you money towards your print
That
bill.
would directly give you $1,000 in your bank account, and then you can apply that to your print bill, right?
That's really great.
Very awesome.
Yeah.
There might be a small subset of people at Print who could also claim the second credit, which is the Earned Income Credit.
Yeah.
And that is for people who are working a real job and receiving money from that. I have not claimed it. I was almost able to claim it, but I think if you're in college, you need to be over the age of 24 or 25. And so I am not, so I can't claim it. But
and a lot of students are undergrad are not going to be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But if you're a non-trad and you are over the age of, I'm going to say like 23, because I'm not exactly sure what the number was, then I would recommend looking into the Earned Income Credit as well if you work on campus.
Absolutely.
So those are 2 credits you can do. The RA job pays for housing. So if you're interested in being an RA, you can get your housing paid for, which in total is a $6,000.
That could be a job for like after you finish your undergrad. If you were going to be an
RC.
RA. Oh, okay.
You're thinking of RC. RA are students
Right,
that
right.
help onboard the first years to the college.
And
so
that's a paid job.
That is a paid job.
Is it like other paid jobs at Prin that we talked about, or is it different?
So it is the same in that you get paid between 5 and 10 hours a week to do work for the RA job essentially. And then in addition, you get your housing paid for. So housing is like $3,000 a semester. So
that's a huge
knockoff. Huge knockoff.
Yeah.
So if you want to be an RA and you think you would be good at it, then I would highly recommend applying for that next fall. The time's already passed. But
for sure.
Very, very lucrative job. Let's see. Do you have anything else?